This news is funded by viewers like you. Please support our work at democracynow.org/give. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. In Gaza, the death toll from Israel's 90-day bombardment has topped 22,600, with another 7,000 people reported missing, presumed dead. Health officials in Gaza say Israel killed at least 162 Palestinians over the last 24 hours as the IDF intensifies its attacks on refugee camps in central and south Gaza, areas once deemed by Israel to be safe. Doctors in Gaza described horrific conditions inside the few hospitals still open. Yasser Khan is a Canadian ophthalmologist who's working in the European hospital in Khan Yunis.
Almost every hour, someone's coming in with an explosive injury or a serious injury. People are losing their legs, their eyes, their lives. And the healthcare workers are working here 24 hours every single day with nothing, with no resources, nothing, no medications, anesthetics, everything is out.
Israeli officials have reportedly held talks with a number of African nations, including the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Rwanda, and Chad, about accepting Palestinians pushed out of Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and some of his cabinet members have promoted what they call voluntary migration from Gaza. But Palestinians and human rights groups have decried the plan as ethnic cleansing. This comes as Israel's ambassador to the United Kingdom, Tzipi Hotovely, has openly embraced destroying the whole of Gaza. She made the comment during an interview on the London radio station LBC.
One of the things we realized that every school, every mosque, every second house has an access to tunnel. So this is, and of course, ammunition.
But that's an argument for destroying the whole of Gaza, every single building in it.
So do you have another solution how to destroy the underground tunnel city, that this is the place where the terrorists hide?
Meanwhile, the Biden administration's criticized South Africa for filing a genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice. National Security Council Coordinator Admiral John Kirby was asked about the case on Wednesday.
South Africa's filed this 84-page lawsuit against Israel, accusing them of genocide. Israel says that this is blood libel. Does Washington agree? And where does this put Washington and Pretoria?
We find this submission meritless, counterproductive, and completely without any basis in fact whatsoever.
In other news from Israel, an Israeli woman who was held hostage by Hamas for 51 days is calling on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to declare a ceasefire. Aviva Siegel spoke to PBS NewsHour.
But he can't keep the war going and get the hostages out. He needs to go to a ceasefire and then get them out, and he needs to get them out now, as quick as possible.
The Iraqi government is blasting the United States after a U.S. drone strike in Baghdad killed a top commander in an Iran-backed militia. An Iraqi military spokesperson described Thursday's attack as a dangerous escalation and an assault on Iraq. Pentagon spokesperson Brigadier General Patrick Ryder claimed the U.S. was acting in self-defense.
This individual was actively involved in planning and carrying out attacks against American personnel. And as we've long said, we maintain the inherent right of self-defense and will take necessary action to protect our personnel.
In Iran, funerals have begun for the 84 people killed Wednesday in a pair of bomb blasts in the city of Kerman. On Thursday, the Islamic State took responsibility. The group said 2 suicide bombers had attacked the crowd who were gathered near the tomb of the Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. The bombings occurred on the 4th anniversary of Soleimani's assassination in Iraq by the United States. In Japan, the death toll from this week's massive earthquake has risen to 94, with over 220 people still missing and feared to be trapped under rubble. Earlier today, an 80-year-old woman was pulled from the rubble more than 72 hours after the quake. Civil rights leader Al Sharpton led a protest Thursday outside the New York office of the billionaire investor Bill Ammans, who helped lead a campaign that led to this week's ouster of Claudine Gay, Harvard University's first black president. Ammans is a Harvard alum and major donor to the university who's publicly railed against Harvard and other schools for supporting DEI. That's diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Al Sharpton vowed to keep protesting outside Ammans' office.
We have started these weekly one-hour protests in front of Mr. Ammans' office. He has said that the resignation of Dr. Gay at Harvard is not the end of it. They're going to keep fighting to the end DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's declaring a war on all of us, blacks, women, gays. DEI was designed to bring fairness and equality to people that had been historically marginalized and eliminated.
Sharpton was standing in front of someone holding a Haitian flag as part of his campaign to oust Claudine Gay as Harvard president. She's the daughter of Haitian immigrants. Bill Ammans helped amplify allegations that Gay had committed plagiarism in her academic work. But now Bill Ammans' wife, MIT professor Neri Oxman, is facing a plagiarism scandal of her own. Business Insider has revealed Oxman plagiarized parts of her doctoral dissertation at MIT. On Thursday, Oxman apologized and admitted making mistakes. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has sued 12 charter bus companies for $700 million, accusing them of illegally transporting over 30,000 migrants from Texas at the behest of Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Adams accused Abbott of using the migrants as political pawns.
These companies have violated state law by not paying the cost of caring for these migrants. And that's why we are suing to recoup approximately $700 million already spent to care for migrants bused here in the last 2 years by the state of Texas.
A new report by House Democrats accuses former President Donald Trump of repeatedly and willfully violating the Foreign Emoluments Clause of the U.S. Constitution. The report found foreign countries, including China, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, spent at least $7.8 million on apartments and hotels at Trump-owned properties while Trump was president. Congressmember Jamie Raskin of Maryland accused Trump of, quote, elevating his personal financial interests and the policy priorities of corrupt foreign powers over the American public interest, Raskin said. Saturday marks the third anniversary of the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. President Biden's planning to mark the anniversary by giving a speech near Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, the Revolutionary War site where George Washington and the Continental Army camped over the winter of 1777-1778, enduring harsh conditions. Meanwhile, voters in Massachusetts and Illinois have filed paperwork challenging Donald Trump's eligibility for running for office, citing the insurrection clause of the 14th Amendment. Trump is already appealing decisions in Colorado and Maine to remove him from the ballot. Newly unsealed documents related to the deceased convicted sex trafficker and financier Jeffrey Epstein includes a reference to reports that former President Bill Clinton once threatened Vanity Fair magazine against reporting on Epstein. One new document contains an email sent by Virginia Giuffre, who had accused Epstein of trafficking her to Prince Andrew when she was 17 years old. In the email, Giuffre writes about why she was worried about speaking to Vanity Fair. She wrote, quote, it does concern me what they could want to write about me, considering that B. Clinton walked into VF and threatened them not to write sex trafficking articles about his good friend J.E. Former Vanity Fair editor Graydon Carter has denied the incident ever took place. In Iowa, a sixth-grade student died Thursday in a school shooting in the town of Perry on the first day of classes after winter break. 5 other people were injured, including the school's principal. Police say the gunman was a 17-year-old student who came to school armed with a pump-action shotgun and a small-caliber handgun. Police say the shooter died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And in Berkeley, California, police raided the historic People's Park early Thursday morning, ending a long standoff between the University of California, Berkeley, and community activists. There were reports at least 7 people were arrested. Many unhoused people were displaced. In the 60s, People's Park was at the center of the anti-war and free speech movements in Berkeley. The UC Berkeley officials have now placed shipping containers around the perimeter of the park, where the school plans to build new student housing. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Democracy Now! Is funded by viewers like you. Please give today at democracynow.org/give.